My name is Tyson, and we're talking about electronic music and its history. Electronic is a pretty broad term, but it pretty much means that with the use of electronic musical instruments and implementing electronic musical technology, that is basically what electronic music is. And basically, it is produced in a wide variety of sound sources. And when these sound sources are generated over a loudspeaker, that is electronic music. And it can be dated back to 1750 to when electronic music first started, thanks to Jean Baptiste de Le Born. He made the clavecin électrique, and it was a keyboard instrument that employed the use of static electric charges and would ring between bells. And here is an example of that. And later in 1874, Elijah Gray invented the musical telegraph, and that was just using electromagnetic circuits that were oscillators operated by a 2-octave piano keyboard. Um, and there were many other instruments that played into the development of electronic music. However, one uh, specific type of music called music concrete really allowed artists to pretty much experiment with every kind of sound and sort of just do whatever their heart imagined, so to speak. And that was thanks to Pierre Schaeffer and Pierre Henry. Uh, they were French composers, and they liked using any type of material to compose stuff and record them on tape. And a part, an example of music concrete is this.
The arrival of tape recorders meant even the most basic sounds could be transformed. Experimenting with music was no longer the monopoly of the imaginative musician. Even the earliest of tape recorders could manage quite happily the faithful reproduction of 3 notes twanged on the piano. It was the possibilities for unfaithful reproduction which also caused excitement. On this length of tape are those same 3 notes. If I wind this piece of tape through the machine by hand, at a speed which isn't constant and in a direction which is forever changing, those 3 twangs become a collection of quite different sounds. In fact, if we re-recorded this performance on another machine, I might end up with a sonata for 3 notes and tape recorder. And I wouldn't be the first. But let's take this creativity a stage further. Let's find the start of the last note. There it is. I'll cut the tape there. Now I can take the end note, turn it the other way round, and put it back, ready to join up. So, what have we got now? Our first two notes are still the right way round, producing a boing sound with a quick start and a slow finish, or what musicians call sharp attack, gentle decay. Now we've turned the last note the wrong way round. We've got the decay first. Now it's become a sound. And if I finish the joins here, it should sound something like this. Crude stuff, you're probably thinking, but to some people, the possibilities of doctoring natural sound using the new magnetic tape became an obsession. In 1958, a reluctant BBC was forced to allow a tiny group of enthusiasts to get some gear out of redundant stores and establish itself here in 2 rooms in London's Maida Vale. The Doctor Who theme, just one of thousands of signature tunes, special effects and pieces of background music created by the Radiophonics Workshop since 1958.
And there have been other instruments like the theremin, which was a beat frequency oscillator that had 2 condensers placed outside the antenna, and it was controlled by the user in the way that they would place their hands in the vicinity to the antenna, and that would supply certain timbres depending on how close or far away your hand was from the antenna. That was also an electronic instrument that sort of helped the development of electronic music, and I would say the most important instrument that really helped the development was the actual synthesizer. And this was built by RCA, and it had 750 vacuum tubes that would basically act as a typewriter and punch holes on this paper that would then essentially tell the machine what note to play. And here is an example of the sound synthesizer. And there have been other instruments that have implemented off of the synthesizer that are still played today, that help with the development and the continuation of the popularity of the genre. It is becoming extremely popular amongst the newer generation, to where there are festivals and concerts, and now producing and making electronic music is also not as complicated as it was before. So the advancement not only in technology but the creativity of the artists, allowing their imaginations to just flow, sort of really captured the spirit of electronic music and brought it to where it is today. I hope that I have taught you a little bit about electronic music, and this is my time. My name is Tice Rose.